Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We'll look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I'm going to bring in Pete this week. Pete, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Derek. Looking behind the scenes at Disney again, and I got my Imagineering shirt on.
Aw. I have my Disney World shirt on. It's as close as I can come. So, Steve, how we doing this week?
I'm surviving.
That's fair. Monorails on your shirt, Steve?
Yes, the monorails.
Nice. So, guys, if you have not already, please like, subscribe, share. We've got some fun shows coming up, including we'll be hitting one of Disney's top 5 ever animated movies coming up here in a couple weeks by box office. And we're going to jump back into the vault next week. So you're going to have to see what we're going to do. But for this week, we watched a show called, we call it Imagineering. These were originally all put out on YouTube. And it's anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes of selected areas of how Disney's Imagineering stuff. It can be sound, it can be the fireworks shows, it can be the haunted mansions. It's all about how they have come up with some of these ideas, how they engineer some of them. I would say fairly superficial.
Yep.
Now, that being said, there was a couple things that I had heard off of this that I had not heard before. So what was something that you learned from this? And Pete, I'll start with you.
So what I thought was interesting is they did something with these that you don't see. And some of these are like a year old. They showed things before the rides open. And the one that was talking about ride vehicles, it showed the new Tony Stark ride that they're building in Disneyland, and it showed there's another one in there that now the Pixar Cars developing the ride that's going to be going into Magic Kingdom at Disney World. And historically, Disney has always been very hush hush about anything about the new attractions. And similarly, I remember when that first one came out, it was before the Tiana ride had opened.
Right.
So, it was, so I think from that perspective, it gives you a sneak peek at things that previously they wouldn't give you sneak peeks on. So from that respect, I did like seeing that kind of stuff. It's kind of neat to be like, oh yeah, that ride's coming in a couple of years. As a parks geek, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Steve, what about you? What caught your eye?
The Haunted Mansion, where they talked about how they sort of like overlay the audio, like for each thing, how it's rotating around the room. So
Which
each person's
fairly new in the Haunted Mansion. Right. That's like last 5 years or so.
Yes. Yeah. I found that very fascinating, like how they can narrow things down, and very fascinating. So it makes me, next time I'm there, sort of like really paying attention of how that's impacted. So
I remember when they changed that, because it used to be just in the speakers, but now if you're standing there and you pay attention, you can hear the voice moving around the room. Yeah. So
and I love if you stick around, the whispering gargoyles.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know.
And I also say with that same aspect, when they're doing Lewis the animatronic, how they could narrow down all these things that are overlaid on the computer, and that's then all put together to make it all like come to life. So that where technology has taken us, I found that really fascinating as well.
Yeah, and for me, the one thing I actually learned something I didn't know before, and it was a practical thing, that when they were recording Grim Grinning Ghosts, to get the music to sound strange and eerie, they actually recorded it backwards and then play it quote normally, but
reverse the
sound
tape.
is the sound is all like a reverse play on a instrument. The onset is what would normally be the cutoff, which helps it make it even spookier than it would have normally been. That was actually something I didn't know from this. So I thought that was very interesting. As you said, Pete, some of it's behind the scenes stuff, things like the one about On With the Show came out last summer, right as the new Disney Starlight Parade was getting ready to come out.
Right.
Yeah.
So showing some of that before, again, this probably came out in June when that came out in July.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was some interesting stuff. As I said, a lot of fluff here, a lot of stuff that I already knew. But
the robot, I know that wasn't one we were necessarily supposed to watch, but the most recent one, which is about the robot technology, I thought there was some really interesting stuff there. There was some of it was stuff I'd seen before, but just interesting about how they teach the robots, because they're, now they have like walk around Olaf and the little BDX droids, and they were showing about how they teach them how to handle walking around and not falling. And they showed a guy with a stick, and the robot would be walking and they'd poke it with the stick to throw it off balance. And I was like, yeah, that's a job I want. The robot
sticker
stick poker. What'd you do today, hun? I poked some robots.
Are those BDX droids, are they just Disneyland?
No, I've seen them in Disney World.
You have seen them at World? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. They in both cases, I think they keep them behind a fence kind of most of the time.
Okay.
Like they walk them out and then they keep them behind a fence, but
okay. Yeah, just because I know I've seen more and more, as we all know, we all say, Disneyland's the favorite child on this stuff, and a lot of that stuff is there. Partially because Disneyland Disneyland is more of a locals park, and so therefore they don't overreact and make sure they get everything on their vlog at Disneyland, usually nearly as much as at Disney World.
Right.
So, okay. So if that's something you learned from this, which episode was the least informative to you? Which episode, and of the ones we quote officially watched, were the audio animatronics, the Let's Ride, the On With the Show, and the Haunted Mansions? So which of those didn't really do much for you other than just be more of an infomercial type thing? Steve?
The audio animatronics. I was so disappointed. With that first one, I didn't learn anything new, and it was so short. I'm going, that's it. I'm not looking forward to the next few episodes if this is how it's going to go. It's like extremely disappointed. And a lot of it was Josh and the long intro.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. The only thing on that was interesting that they've gone to all electronic cams now instead of the hydraulic that some of the old ones were. It's all electronic actuators and such, that it just because it provides a much more fine-tuned environment. They can get it precisely to move exactly the same distance every time. So for me, the one that didn't really hold my attention was the On With the Show. Partially because they built up all these, I remember this from the past and this from the past and this from the past, and they didn't talk about anything from the past.
No.
And they didn't show us anything. They showed like 20 seconds of Spectrum Magic and like 5 seconds of the original fireworks, or 5 seconds of Main Street Electrical Parade. And then it's all computer screens, a lot of it. And a lot of it was at Disneyland Paris. They touched on how they made a new show for California Adventure at the World of Color. They made a new show, but then they didn't show us any of the show. And I would have loved to say, okay, this is how this is doing it. Okay, show me a frame of this is what it looks like on the computer as this is happening.
Right.
So that would have
at
been
least a clip of it, at least 30 seconds or something. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So that was the one that was just kind of a, sure, why not? Okay, Pete, which one didn't work for you?
I felt that way about the Haunted Mansion one. I think if you're don't know a lot about the Haunted Mansion, it would be good. But I felt it was telling me an awful lot of things I already knew. You got to the end and they talked about the cruise line bar, which I haven't been on that. So that part was a little more interesting, how they incorporated the old and the new there, only because I hadn't heard it before, but almost everything in that one was, I'd heard about Phantom Manor and how they had to change the different, if they have to change in different countries. It felt like it was clipped from some other show I've seen.
Yes, I would agree with that.
So that one was the least interesting
And the
to
least
me of
new
the
stuff.
ones. Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you like to see how it's Imagineering? They're going to do if they do another one of these shows, what do you want to see how it had been Imagineered? What's something you don't really think has been delved into all that much? Pete, do you have an idea?
I liked the ride vehicle show, but I'd like them to go. A lot of these were very surface level.
Very.
And to me, that one was, here's a ride vehicle and here's I do think they did go a little more into it for the Tony Stark,
right.
Kukla. They're not called Kukla arms, I don't think, but the arm ride that's coming. Show me, and maybe it's having done backstage stuff like show me. I did a backstage thing and they took us backstage for Radiator Springs Racers, and they showed us how the computers monitored the cars on the track, and so that they basically are tracking every single car
right
at all times and where they're positioned and where they're going and everything and like that. And then I've seen it before, but the Indiana Jones ride out in California, how that ride vehicle works, in that it's you're doing this real bumpy thing, but it's all internal to the vehicle. It's not the track that's bumpy, it's the vehicle that's doing it. So I guess there's more I would like to see on that subject, because I think that's an interesting subject to me. I think that episode, I did enjoy that episode, but I would have liked to have seen more. So maybe revisit some of that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I also wonder about, because they kind of talked about, or should I, you know what? I'll let Steve go. I got one more. If we go around again, I have one more.
I would add to that. I've heard one of the Imagineers talk about how they came up with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad, of how they could get people into the cartoon, and how they tested screens flipping. So that's how they're able to quickly change scenes. And then just seeing footage of that, sort of like that fascinating, how do they put it together, sort of inventing these new things. Because they showed us where it was just a blank screen and how they were testing it, their initial testing, and how that work, and then the overlay of the stuff. So it's that, to me, is what's fascinating. Starting from the start to finish, like you said, with the cars, how they're monitoring and everything, and the Indiana Jones thing where it's not really a bumpy track.
Yeah. For me, I want to see more about the Disney roller coasters. I want to see more about, while he's still around, how did Bob Gore design the Matterhorn with a slide rule and a prayer?
Yep.
Because that was the first tubular steel coaster anywhere. And then maybe go to all the different Space Mountains, because there are at least 3 very distinct Space Mountains that have been put together. Disneyland is completely different than Magic Kingdom, is completely different than Paris.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's all about, and Tokyo, who knows what they're doing with that.
Yeah, they're ripping that all out, right?
Yeah, it's been gutted and they're completely redoing it.
Yeah.
But all the different Space Mountains, and again, Space Mountain was the first roller coaster that was computer controlled.
Yeah.
So show me what the original computer controls looked like versus how they do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Show me how they do the Star Wars overlay in Disneyland, because that was really cool when they used to do they still do that around the
They do.
4th?
Yeah. They do.
Yes, occasionally, yes, they bring back Hyperspace Mountain.
Hyperspace Mountain was really cool. I really enjoyed it.
It is, yeah.
So that's what I would have been. Pete, what else were you going to talk about?
I wouldn't mind seeing something on, and maybe this wouldn't be that exciting, but like how they use like colors to achieve moods and tone, you know what I mean? That type of thing.
Yeah.
Like how they more about like colorization, similar to like comparing it to animation, like how you use cool tones for certain moods, and you use red tones to create stressful environments and things like that. I think there could be an interesting episode on that.
The whole how the red color was chosen working with Kodak, so it would look really good in pictures. The colors of the sidewalks.
Yeah.
So
I'd say even this. Yeah, I think even the sound, more into the sound, like, because as you walk through the park, how they're able to quickly switch the sound, or like in the morning you have this peppy go music to get you going, and then at night the music changes where it's more subdued, of like time to get out, go home.
Yeah, and how they're able to audio, separate the different lands, not just visually, but auditorily.
Auditorily, yeah.
Auditorily, I guess is the word.
How you can go from the Fantasyland music right near Pooh to basically where the Tea Party is basically its own music.
Right.
And then you get over to the Tomorrowland Speedway, and that's just about one of the only dead zones in the park.
Yeah.
Until you get further into Tomorrowland.
And then you get the blue. Yeah,
which I love the Tomorrowland music. Tomorrowland background music.
Great stuff.
So, guys, any other thoughts on We Call It Imagineering? I thought, again, as we said, some of this felt a little bit like an infomercial, especially how it was originally timed with, they had some of the Tiana's right before the Tiana's Ride open, and the Starlight right before the Starlight Parade came out. And so,
yeah,
I agree with you. That's my words I had, infomercial.
Yeah, I watched this. I watched the ones that, we chose 4 of them, and I watched them basically in the last 2 days, and it was like kind of too much at once. So I think the way it was originally released on YouTube, where it's one and then a couple months later or whatever, they have another one. I think that worked better for how it was produced. This did not feel like a bingeable series on Disney Plus versus some of the other ones we've watched before on Imagineering and on that type of stuff. It definitely wasn't as good as like the History of Imagineering one.
I would agree. I would completely agree. At least they didn't try and do the one with like the little robot. Because there's another Imagineering YouTube series that has like this has Tom Morrow is the little robot. Think of it more geared towards kids.
Yeah.
But, okay, guys, as we always do, we do cups of pixie dust out of 5 for We Call It Imagineering. Pete, what are you giving it?
I'm going to give this, based on the way I rate things, I'm going to give this a 2.5. It's not something I would ever go back and watch these, whereas I feel like maybe like the Imagineering story or Light and Magic, I would probably go back to. But I don't mind that I watched it. So 2.5. Yeah.
I'm right with Pete. 2.5. Like I learned a few new things. If you're a Disney person, you'll probably be interested, but a lot of fluff.
Yeah. And it's a clean sweep of a 2.5 for me also. Just if you like watching, you'll go on and just watch Disney clips and whatever of different rides and such just for fun type thing. Sure, go on, watch this. You won't be disappointed.
I'm sorry. You finish. I got a question though.
I'll say, if you're wanting to actually go in and learn something, as Pete said, Imagineering story is much, much better. Some of the making of the Disneyland one we watched a couple weeks ago had much more informative stuff than this did.
Yeah.
So
So which one, if someone were to want to watch one episode, what would you tell them which one to watch? Which was your favorite?
how
of the
big of
ones
a
you saw?
Disney file are they?
Let's go the opposite way. Let's just say casual Disney fan. Like they've been to the parks. They go every 3 or 4 years, maybe, but not massive fans or anything.
I probably send them to the Haunted Mansions one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Haunted Mansion.
And then
If you're more-
probably either the Let's Ride or the audio animatronics.
Yeah, I was thinking the Let's Ride one was
because they had that was like fascinating how the arm is going to click in and they're actually making it part of the show. How normally they said they would hide
rising it. And the fact that you're actually going to go from like where you are straight up like 30, 40 feet.
Oh, for the Monsters Inc. coaster.
For the door coaster.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. And they did the door. They talked about the door coaster too. Yeah, there was a lot of new stuff in that one.
There was.
So
I would say that's if you want to see what's coming. The Let's Ride. I would say if you just want to get a taste of how Imagineering works, I would say probably the Haunted Mansions.
Yeah.
So okay. Kate's not here. I'll do the Disney Plus news this week. Willie, only one thing. Yeah, no, I can't do the song. She's kind of retired the song too. So
I guess she has,
yeah. We'll see if we can't get that back. But anyway, announced Zootopia 2 will be coming out on the service March 11th, so next Wednesday.
Wow, that's a short, surprisingly short time. They don't usually give us that little time, right?
Yes, actually they usually do.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah. Part of it is because it just came out on physical copies like last week.
Right. I'm actually surprised it's this early. I thought it would be coming closer to Easter.
Yeah. I mean, one thing is you got spring break starting in a couple weeks.
True.
So there's that. So that'll be that. Next week, we are not going to do what we had originally thought we were going to do. We were originally going to do a documentary called Lost on Everest. I watched it. Did not hold my attention enough, and just kind of the storyline plot wasn't there, especially because at the end they don't find what they were looking for. Spoiler alert. So we're gonna go back.
And we already saw the U2 documentary where they still hadn't found what they're looking for.
Yeah,
so.
This is another one.
Yeah.
But we're going to go all the way back, and we're going to visit Rudyard Kipling's somewhat classic. We're going to go watch the original Jungle Book. Ooh. This actually went out of the Disney Animation Vault we have not watched. So
yeah, and this was the last one that Walt had a hand in, right?
Had a decent hand in, yes.
Yeah.
He had at least done a chunk of the story approval.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think everyone knows the story, but that's what we're going to be watching next week. We'll be watching the Jungle Book. And yes, in 2 weeks, we will be watching Zootopia 2.
Yay.
So that's what's coming up the next couple of weeks. But if you've got suggestions on what you want us to watch, please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. Send us a message, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We want to know what you want us to watch. We have new shows every Thursday on YouTube and all the major podcasting services. For Pete and Steve, Kate and Gina, we will see you later, and we will see everyone else next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcasts and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.